At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Have we got a show for you tonight?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that means you. Welcome to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. It's Tuesday, July 11th, the year of our Lord 2017. Belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat, and it's great to see you back. We got a great show for you tonight. The one and only Jeff Dunetz. BZ's gonna cook off on the Blasio. And all sorts of other buttery goodness kinds of things. Already, now that's another reason that I have to say that I absolutely love Jersey Joe leading in. Because already it's like a built-in audience. There it is, right there in front of my screen. And so I have to say, because my mother would, if she were here, she would slap the shit out of me if I wasn't kind to everybody in chat. And hello to Melanie, good to see you in chat. Jersey Joe. And we've got Kel Fritzy, good to see you there. We've got Mike and two viewers who are viewing in masked mode at this point, apparently. And I'll not unmask them. So, welcome to everybody. Hey, folks, you can be in chat, too. You go to shrmedia.com, click on live. I think it's click on air. And you, too, can be right there in chat. We have, for us tonight, we have a grand individual. It's, I've got a whole lot of stuff scheduled, but first off, I have to tell you that I have a very, very special guest tonight. And our special guest is none other than Jeff Dunetz. We've worked long and hard to get this together. Jeff is a very, very busy kind of man. And so I have to say right now, because, of course, there has to be an introduction for Jeff Dunetz, does there not? Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, boys and girls, children of all ages, I have to say it is my unique pleasure to introduce a very special guest to you tonight. He is a true Renaissance man, multi-talented, multi-layered, and jam-packed with political insight, and he's the owner of lidblog.com, Jeff Dunetz. Now, Jeff is the owner, editor, and publisher of The Lid, and is also a weekly political columnist at the Jewish Star and Truth Revolt. And he's also, listen to this, check this out. He's written at Breitbart, Hot Air, and PJ Media's Tatler, amongst many other sites. I think he's going to give me an update in a bit. Jeff, of course, however, has his own weekly radio show right here on the SHR Media Network every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, where he crams more ubiquitous, perspicacious sagacity into 1 hour than any other mortal on the planet. So, Jeff, I have to tell you this also. Jeff has interviewed such luminaries as Kurt Schlichter, Mark Morano, Ken Timmerman, Dr. Paul Brown, former Florida Representative and Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, very nice grab, Project Veritas creator James O'Keefe, Harlan Smith, Mark Krikorian, Barry Rubin, Jim Garrity, Representative Lee Zeldin, Ed Morrissey of Hot Air himself, the fabulous, my favorite cartoonist, political cartoonist, Michael Ramirez, Adam Baldwin, and Jonah Goldberg, amongst many, many others. So, Jeff,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you left out the most important one.
Well, that's why I say I have to apologize, because I know that I must have left people out that you've interviewed.
You!
Yes! Oh,
You've
okay.
been on my show a few times.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, you're right. I have. But
Now, folks, you got to understand something. There are interviews where you really have to work hard, and you have to be serious, and you have to have this game face down. And then there are interviews where you can relax because you know you're interviewing somebody who's not only smart but fun, and that's what happens when BZ is on the show.
Every time, see, that $20 was obviously well spent. But okay, Jeff, I got to tell you.
But you told me there's another 20 after the show.
Well, I was done. That's just.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Who did I leave out? I had to have left something or someone out of that interview pack.
Hey, you.
Jeff. Well, yeah, besides me, though. Because you have really made some amazing grabs, so to speak.
Well, a lot of the really big ones, like Alan West and like Ted Cruz, were
there you go,
done
Ted
at
Cruz,
where I recorded it and broadcast on the show. You know, and then I've been on other people's shows. But tomorrow is Ed Morrissey, actually.
Oh, how cool is that? Very nice. Ed Morrissey.
Who happens to be one of my closest friends in this business. So it's a fun one.
Okay, well, if you know Ed Morrissey, then you probably also know Hugh Hewitt's producer, Dwayne Patterson.
Dwayne's a great guy. Actually, a few years ago, I went on a cruise to Alaska.
Uh-huh.
That was organized by Dwayne and Ed.
Oh, cool.
And actually, one of the people I met is someone else who's become a good friend of mine, whose show I got off of 10 minutes ago and told me to say hello.
Okay.
Tammy Jackson.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Yes, that's right. Tammy's show is on Tuesdays also, but she's 1 hour ahead of me. Yep, you're right.
Right. But that's how I met Tammy, at that cruise, on that cruise.
Now, see, that just... All right, I have to be honest. Now, I have spoken to Tammy Jackson here on the show. That was about 2 weeks ago. And she also is a great interview, but she tells me she has no money. And there you go, revealing that she has sufficient greckles to get on a cruise. Fine, Tammy, fine. I see how that goes. And didn't invite me.
That was about 4 years ago. And I'm sure she had to save up for a long time. And as cruises go, that wasn't an expensive one. That's the only way I was able to convince my wife to go on a political cruise.
Now, Kel in the chat room, welcome to Kel. Good to see you there. She asks, are you talking about the Alaskan cruise? Was that the Inside Passage cruise?
Yes.
Okay.
That was, yes.
Okay, and that was great. I went on that one in about 2004, right around it. No, it was 2004. 5 years before my dad passed away, and I went on the cruise with my dad, and we were on Holland America. We had the greatest time. We ended up in that bay, and a glacier piece actually calved into the ocean. I've got it on camera. It was grand, absolutely grand.
I got French people angry on the cruise.
Uh-oh, why?
Well, they were, you know, when you're on a cruise, you're not supposed to start feeding the birds. And
Okay.
I noticed that I started having
birds.
I had birds coming into my cabin because the people in the cabin next to me were feeding the birds. So I went downstairs and I complained. And as I'm coming back into my room, I'm hearing, those Americans.
Oh,
Keep their mouths shut.
oh, you're a bad American.
And so I said very loudly to my wife, so they could hear, should I tell them that if it wasn't for us Americans, the Eiffel Tower would be a Wiener Schnitzel stand? And she told me to shut up.
Now, here's a question. Here's one of the immediate questions that I have. Now, when you say that there were birds on the cruise, are you talking about seagulls, trash cans of the sky?
Seagulls. And it was when we were in Glacier Bay, when we were in that, you know, in that area right over there.
It was absolutely beautiful when I went, and I'm sure it was for you. Now, going back a little bit, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I like, unfortunately, and I talk about God a lot. It's just natural to me. And anybody who goes on that cruise and sees all that beauty and doesn't believe in God is just not being realistic.
No, that is absolutely correct because of all the incredible, and it's just what I found was it's the beauty, but it features, and tell me if I'm wrong, it features a color palette that you just don't see anywhere else.
Absolutely.
The
and you know what
ocean,
the weird thing is?
What?
That when you look at the ice in the glacier, you expect it to be all white, but it's all colors also.
That's it. That's exactly it. The ocean is a different sort of a cerulean kind of blue. The ice is not just white. The ice is shades of blue, different shades of blue, and other colors sort of kind of moving over into kind of a bit of a purple palette. And there's some orange. It's just a spectacular variety.
It was really nice.
Of colors. It was beautiful.
And,
absolutely.
You know, we got to see whales and stuff. It was really cool.
Now, question for you. I used to like to get up on the bow and look over when I could. And I noticed on any number of occasions we had, I wouldn't say they were following us, but we did.
Wait a second. Did you put your arms out like in Titanic?
No, I didn't.
Good, because
I wish I'd thought of it, though.
On the first day of the cruise, I wore a T-shirt that said, "The boat sank, get over it."
Now, I would think that's really funny. I'm not sure if there were all the passengers there that would think that was particularly funny, but I can remember looking down, and at a number of times on the cruise, there were porpoises, dolphins, whatever they were, mammals in the sea, following the ship. It was absolutely spectacular. And then I saw what I thought was probably a pod of orca because they were really dark in color. I mean, if you haven't been up to the inside passage on a cruise, and the various stops. Oh yeah,
we had the orcas, but when we went on a whaling thing, we saw a blue whale break. You know what they call it, break,
right?
When it jumps up in the air. I think you know what it looks like. It looks like the whale swimming and then stepped on a Lego. You know what happens when you have kids? What happens when you step on a Lego? That's what the whale looks like.
Yeah, it fell backwards into the Lego Sea. I used to go in whale
Exactly.
cruises in Monterey Bay when the whales are running, kind of like the bulls, only different, much wetter than the running of the bulls in Pamplona. But in any event, the whales would get incredibly close to the little boats out there. You could see their eyes, and then they'd breach up into the ocean, slam down. You'd see the tails come up, the puffs of breath as they expelled air from the old air from their lungs. Just things like that. Absolutely gorgeous. I hate the stupid state of Fornicalia, but my God, its scenery is just absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, I'll tell you something, though. There weren't any whales following us, or orca or anything. Once when we got out of, I think it was Juneau, and a store thought I stole something, there were cops following us.
What?
But that was it. I'm joking.
Okay, all right, good. Oh, man. Okay, now that we've promoted cruises to Alaska and the Inside Passage, and you guys haven't booked one yet, for folks that may not be familiar with your absolutely percipient profundity, can you give us a little background on yourself, where you were born, raised, that kind of thing to begin with?
Well, let's see. I started out as a child.
Like Bill
I had
Cosby.
a horrible childhood.
Uh-oh.
My mother breastfed me through falsies.
I should know.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
I should know.
I grew up in very liberal Long Island.
Aha.
Actually, still living in very liberal Long Island, in a house where most of my family at the time was apolitical. My father and brother were always conservatives, and I married a liberal.
Really?
Actually, the first political campaign that I actually followed or worked on was Allard K. Lowenstein, who wasn't liberal; he was a socialist.
Okay. Well, hey, you were young.
Well, exactly. I was 11, so I could be excused.
You got
and
political
actually,
at 11. Wow.
Actually, the weird thing is that I read my first party registration was as a Democrat, because while my whole family was conservative, while my father and brother were conservative, they were all registered Democrats. Okay, because being Jewish, all Jews are registered Democrats.
Bingo, thank you.
And, well, too
Almost
many
all.
anyway.
Yeah, too many, yes.
And it wasn't until, I think it was like 2008 or 2009 that I finally switched over to Republican. And it's not that I wasn't a conservative and all that kind of stuff, but I was just too lazy to go to the Board of Elections and fill out the form. I swear to God. And the only reason why I finally did was my daughter became a member of the local Republican committee, and I wanted to be able to sign her petition, so she'd be nominated.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I did it.
Okay, then
in actuality, I'm a conservative who votes Republican.
Okay, so that when you said 2009, that the first thing that came to me was a question. Before 2009, were you even politically interested, motivated?
Oh, yeah.
You were, okay.
Yeah. I've been writing for maybe 20 years.
Okay.
Blogging maybe the last 13 or 14.
Okay.
But I had been writing for Jewish World Review, for Aish.com, etc. And and it was always either religious or political in nature. You know, I started out, my blog was called Yid with Lid, and the reason why is most of my writing was either religious or Middle East oriented. And somewhere around 2007, I started writing a lot more about politics. And now, I mean, obviously 95% of my writing is politics. And so that's when I changed it to the Lid, because I didn't want people to think it was a Jewish-only site.
I started my blog, excuse me, in 2004, and I think you started right around in that time also. Because
right around that time.
Yeah, yours was one of the first that I read, and I can remember going to, and it was called Yid with Lid at that time, and I can remember going to your site, and I'd look, and there were very few comments, and I was stupid enough at the time to think that one's impressions in the blogosphere were with the number of comments that you acquired. Do you remember that big ecosystem that used to grade blogs, and it went from like lowly paramecium to mammal to mortal god or something like that?
Yes. I don't remember what it was called, but I remember that.
Yes, and I ran me, and I'm down by, C-sperm, and I looked at yours, and it was like way the hell up there, and I thought, my God, how does this guy get so many hits on his blog, and nobody wants to comment? I didn't get it, but it was all because of the good writing that you were doing then, and you've been consistently doing ever since. It's all about the writing.
I can tell you something. I wish I did get more comments, though, because I learned what most comments I learned from. There are certainly ones where, I don't know why people do this, but I won't, I monitor my own comments. And if anybody writes things calling people names, I don't like racial whatevers.
Right.
I don't like when people, call all Muslims terrorists because they're not all terrorists, things like that. And I have to erase a lot of them, and I ban people. I don't have the patience for it. But I do wish that, a lot of times I end a post with, what do you think? And I would love to know, and I mean it when I say that.
I don't know if you get trolls. I got trolls. And at the beginning, I'd get some comments here and there. And then my comments went up. And then I knew I'd really found my sweets. I don't know. This sounds weird. I knew I'd found my sweet spot in the blogosphere when I got an arseload of trolls who came to my blog all the time. And my God, I migrated from Blogspot. And then I went over and bought my own domain under WordPress. And that gives you a little bit more control, but still, all the people and the spam and the Fs and S's directed at me in spam, the hits just keep on coming. For a while I thought, okay, I'll let a couple go through. And there was another guy named John, and I still let him through today because he doesn't use the F and the S word. But he's the only guy that I let through because all the rest of it is no argument, nothing. It's just blank you and blank this and blank that. It's stupid.
Well, I get that too, but usually it's family.
I knew there was a reason I wanted you in the saloon, and that was it right there.
But really, the truth is that, I've gone around. I mean, I used to write a lot for Breitbart, and I stopped not because of anything wrong with Breitbart, but it was one of my reasons for starting the writing and feeling empowered was Andrew. And when Andrew passed away,
right,
it was still the same. Breitbart, I just didn't feel like being part of it anymore. I don't know if that.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
It makes any sense at all.
No, that makes absolute sense.
You know,
Do you know Carrie Baxter Donovan?
No.
Okay. I interviewed her. I came across her through Twitter and through Sean Lewis here on SHR. And she said the exact same thing. She was a big fan of Breitbart. She used to write to him. And she said when he passed away, it was like there was a big hole in her heart, and it was never the same. Absolutely never the same.
You know, everybody says they were a close friend with Breitbart. I wasn't. But the problem is that Andrew made everyone feel like when you were talking to him, you were the most important person in the world, and that's part of it. Okay, I was not only he was not only a mentor, but I was somebody who was, I guess, a disciple type of thing. But you know, you hear people say, well, you know, I was a close friend of Andrew. Anybody who says that isn't. The other thing people say is, boy, if Andrew was alive, nobody knows what Andrew would do if he was alive. That was one of the cool things about Andrew.
That's true.
Okay? You can never tell what he was going to do. However, when he did it, you realized how consistent it was with his philosophy. And it kills me to hear, people talk about, him being a racist and stuff like that now, because it wasn't. He wasn't. He liked everybody.
Yeah,
everybody of all kinds. But one of my favorite, and the reason why that brought you remind me of one of my favorite things of being trolled was once after writing an article, Media Matters. One of the senior people at Media Matters tweeted out that I was basically an anti-Semite.
Really?
Well,
really?
It gets better.
Okay.
They did it on a Saturday. Now, I'm not online generally on Saturdays until Saturday night because it's the Jewish Sabbath.
Right.
I mean, sometimes I am, but because I won't write and I won't do anything where I can make money, I'm generally off. And when I got back on that Saturday night, I had 500 different tweets. And I never had that many tweets. And the reason being is they tweeted it out, and all the editors at Breitbart were beaten up on Media Matters the entire day. That they were protecting me, especially because I wasn't there to protect myself.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that was a lot about, and that was a big part of at least what I felt about Breitbart at the time, because we protect each other, and that's why you'll see me that I really generally when I tweet, unless I'm bored and I need a break from writing, generally when I tweet, it's letting people know about my own writing or whatever. But when somebody who I worked with at Breitbart is being attacked, like Dana Lash is always being attacked.
Oh yeah, because she's a big Second Amendment person, certainly.
She was also my editor at Big Journalism. Some of my biggest stories were done under her. And,
very nice.
And she's a good person, and I won't let people beat up on her. Same thing with Peter Schweitzer, Clinton Cash. He was an editor of mine. I mean, it's kind of like they were almost like my growing up friends, and I still come to their defense, and they still come to mine. So, I mean, that was the old Breitbart. And I'm not saying that Breitbart's bad now, because I'm not involved with it. But it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
You're echoing the same thing that everybody that I've spoken to that claimed that they knew Andrew Breitbart was saying, that the day that he died, it never felt the same. Perhaps the writing was similar, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. I understand that. And I'll be the first to say that it was only after Andrew died that I even began to understand what Breitbart was and who he was. I was so far away from Andrew Breitbart, I wish I could have met him and just sat down. I bet he would have enjoyed just sitting down with a beer and talking.
Oh, yeah. But I have to tell you something. I spoke to the guy maybe 10 times in my life. You know, I tweeted, talked. You know, I'll tell you an Andrew Breitbart story that will tell you everything about Andrew. When his book came out, okay, he did an appearance on the Hugh Hewitt show, and Hugh Hewitt was busting his chops that he wasn't in the acknowledgments. So I sent Andrew a direct message saying, "Screw Hewitt. How come I wasn't in the acknowledgments?" Now, Visa, you know me. I'm a wise ass.
Yeah, okay.
And that was a wise ass statement. I was busting his chops. Next morning, I have an email. "Hey, I need you to call me at about 11 o'clock. And I call him. He says, "Listen, Jeff, I feel really bad. You know, you've written about over 200 articles for me in the last year, and I should have mentioned you." And I said, "Andrew, I was busting chops. I really didn't mean it. You know, I was joking." But he felt so bad that he might have hurt my feelings, that he went out of his way to use. And Andrew always had 12 cell phones at one time. That he used one, that he wanted to call me and make sure I was okay. Okay, you don't get that anymore.
No, you don't. You don't get anybody that. Well, yeah, that's true. People are glued to cell phones. They're glued looking down all their lives at their cell phones. That's absolutely true. Unfortunately, it's the bottom of the hour. We're going to have to go to a break. Now, when we come back, if Jeff happens to think that this has just been an easy ride so far, I have to tell you that we're going to start asking some questions of good old Jeff. Boy. Jeff, are you up for it, my good man?
Well, actually, I'm relaxing in my work chair.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Okay,
so
that's good.
I'm not going to get up. I'm going to sit for it. But yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. All right, folks, we are talking to Jeff Dunetz, owner of the lidblog.com. Please stay glued to YouTube, which apparently is not hearing Paul Jeff and is hearing me for whatever stilted and stunted question that happens to be. And tell you what, we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid program.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Socko as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where insanity reigns supreme and safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, it's comforting to know an ancient, fat, long-haired, bearded reprobate has your mind in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. And despite every attempt by the SHR Media Network to revoke his shameless contract, we return to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I do say welcome back to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. I'd like to say hello to all sorts of people in chat. First, we have Jersey Joe. We have Melanie, who's in there. Mike, Dave Milner, the unpleasant blind guy who really isn't. Not blind, but unpleasant. Kel Fritzy, the Canadian infidel, Dan Butcher of High Plains pundit fame, Mary Brockman, and of course the ubiquitous Jeff Dunetz, with whom we are speaking now, right now, live and direct.
By the way,
Jeff.
Step,
Yes, sir.
I'm not ubiquitous. I'm Jewish.
Okay, all right.
No, because some people might think I converted. I've never heard of a religion called ubiquitous.
The only thing that I know about the ubiquitous faith is that they get around. That's all I know about them. And end of statement. That's all. Okay, so I have to ask you, you're obviously well-educated. You're university educated. Where did you go to college or university?
I actually went to First State University of New York at Oswego for 2 years. And then I got my degree in double major of political science and theater.
Okay.
From Albany State. I was actually, acting and directing at Albany State. And then I went for almost my MBA at Hofstra.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you knocked off my next question. Did you ever get your master's? And obviously, yes,
No.
you did. You didn't.
No, you see, the purpose of going to grad school for me was to be able to get a job.
Oh, okay.
And once I got my first job in advertising, I just dropped it.
Okay. So then that begs the next question. Is that customarily what you've done for quite some time now, is you've been involved in advertising?
Well, I spent 30-something years in marketing, advertising. Then I went into magazine ad sales, and then I was the publisher of Nickelodeon magazine for a couple of years.
Really?
And yep. Actually, when I was publisher, it was the first time that a children's-oriented magazine was named to Adweek's hottest magazines list, and it happened twice. Oh, really? That's an accomplishment.
It is. Your talents are wide-ranging.
And then I worked for Marvel for 9 months because I couldn't take it. And then I became marketing director of 2 different magazine organizations.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Okay, back up just a little bit. You said you went to work for Marvel, Marvel?
Yes.
The comics?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What did you do? You got to tell me. I didn't know this. What did you do?
I was the ad director. I was the advertising director.
Okay.
So I was in charge of ad sales. The guy who I reported was a SOB, who basically, true story, made me fire someone who had 3 kids 5 days before Christmas because he didn't like his face.
Oh, jeez. Oh, Lord.
Okay. And the day that happened, I knew I had to get out. You know, I mean, I even offered, hey, take some of my salary. Just don't fire the guy who has 3 kids just before Christmas. I actually took it worse than the guy who got fired.
Well, that's almost like the epitome of cruelty.
No, well, yes, exactly. That's the epitome of cruelty.
Okay,
but that's how they treated people there.
When you were at Marvel,
I worked for all big kids companies. For years I worked for Disney.
Okay.
First, my big ad account for 10 years was Hasbro. Then I worked for Disney. Then I worked for Nickelodeon, and then I worked for Marvel. So my kids had it great.
Yes, they had toys and comic books and reading material. And all the best, all the finest. So just out of curiosity now, what years were you there at Marvel?
9 months. It was
in the 90s?
9 months in the 2002.
Okay.
Because I got laid off from Nickelodeon after 9/11. Because ad dollars just went away.
Okay.
So, and my next job, I went to work for Marvel. And actually, when I quit, Ike Perlmutter, who is not really the SOB that people talked about him being in the press. Okay. He basically offered me a lot of money and a lot of stock to stay. And my attitude was it was golden handcuffs. As long as the guy I reported to was there, I would be miserable. And no amount of money is worth being miserable all the time.
You're absolutely right. You prove what I said, and I've been saying for quite some time. People leave jobs, they think it's all about the cash. But primarily, it's about who is your immediate supervisor / working conditions, because anybody knows you can name all the worst bosses that you have ever had, but you really remember the good bosses, and the good bosses are not outnumbered. It's a sad kind of thing, but you left because you had the boss from hell.
Yeah, and there are a couple of places where I had the boss from hell, but this was the boss from hell that I just couldn't take anymore. I mean, it was literally driving me into a depression.
How about if we move over into politics just a little bit?
Sure.
I wasn't a Trump guy last year, and anybody that listens to my show knows that my candidate was Ted Cruz. So if I might be so bold, for whom were you lobbying, and for whom did you vote? And now with Trump in office, I have to end up with, what are your thoughts about Donald Trump? It's a huge question.
Well, my initial support was directed towards Marco Rubio.
Okay. All right.
And then when he dropped out, I was a big Ted Cruz fan.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, one of my big revelations before the New York primary was that out of all the people who left in the race, Ted Cruz was the only one who knew how to eat pizza without a knife and fork.
Who eats pizza with a knife and fork?
Kasich and Trump.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, you're right. You're right. I remember the picture of Kasich.
Once Donald Trump passed that, 1273?
Right.
Delegates, he became a Trump guy because Trump had one very huge advantage. He wasn't Hillary Clinton.
Bingo, bango, bongo, Batman, thank you very much. Yes.
And I think that Trump has surprised me. I wasn't sure that he would do what he promised with the Supreme Court. He did. I wasn't sure that he would get rid of all the regulations. He has been.
He's trying.
He's trying. After 8 years of having a president who was anti-Semitic and anti-Israel, because Obama wasn't just anti-Israel, he wasn't a fan of Jews. And that made it really my book. And Hillary was going to be just as bad. Anyway, I don't think he's anti-anything. He's anti-crime and he's anti-terrorist, but he's not anti-Muslim. And, it's nice to have somebody who doesn't hate you anymore. As far as a lot of the things like Obamacare, I got a stupid question.
Okay.
When did repeal and replace become, repeal kind of some of it a little, and then replace it with different kind of some of it little?
All right.
I thought repeal, okay, I'm naive. I always thought that
I know where you're going.
I thought repeal and replace meant you're going to get rid of it and you're going to replace it the way it was 9 years ago.
See,
I was very happy with my medical plan 9 years ago.
You're getting into what I consider to be the absolute crux of the biscuit. If there's one thing that I remember from this is really going to date me, from my high school civics class in...
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
The 60s. Mr. Helms told me this, and I will never forget it. Democrats don't win elections. Republicans lose them. It's the same thing with the GOP. The GOP was handed a mandate by the electorate. We want things to change, and the rumbling that's going on right now is not going to be good for the GOP. So you kind of big-footed one of my questions, and then you went right into it, and that's this. What's the current state of the GOP? Will they ever get it?
One of the other problems is that their margin in the Senate is, well, John McCain, forget it, okay? As I actually wrote a few hours ago, John McCain is the poster child for term limits.
Yes, I see that right now. And folks, if you're interested, go to lidblog.com. That's what Jeff is on. And I'm looking at it right now, and there's a picture of John McCain. It says, John McCain is America's poster child for term limits. And the article that Jeff has up right now, it says, John McCain suspected of leaking Trump dossier to the media. But there's more to it than that. McCain sent an operative first to Canada and then across the pond to get information from a UK espionage kind of guy where he got this, quote, dossier on Trump allegedly urinating on the bed. John McCain is nothing but an underminer for conservatives. I can't think of any other way to quantify John McCain.
Let me explain to you why, as soon as I read that stuff way back when in January, I knew it was wrong. President Trump is a bit of a germaphobe.
Okay, yes.
He really had really had to work hard to be able to shake people's hand on the campaign trail. Okay, the guy never would have let a hooker pee on him.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't know many people who would, and if any of the listeners like that, I'm sorry, it ain't for me.
No.
But he would have never let, I mean, he's a germaphobe. How would he have let somebody do that?
No, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's unmitigated bullshit.
Exactly. So once I read that, I knew it was fake. Okay. A lot of this Russian stuff is just total nonsense. Okay. They have been doing their best to make sure that, and it's just their way of slowing everything down. Okay?
Yes.
They don't want his agenda passed. And as I said to somebody on Chuck Schumer's staff last week, can you at least teach the guy to wear his glasses up? He looks like an old school marm. Okay? But forgetting that for a second, okay? The revelation of Junior today was not criminal.
No, it's a nothing burger.
Well, but you know what? It feeds the whole thing. And
yes.
And you know what? The left is right to use it to feed the thing. And let me explain why. And I watched the first half of Hannity's interview today, so I can't tell you how the whole thing went. But I will tell you
I missed it.
That what I saw I didn't like. Because there's one question that Hannity didn't ask, and it's really important. That, you know, they make excuses. Well, he says, well, you didn't know she was, you didn't think she was connected with the government. And he said, no, I didn't. Well, let me ask you something. In the letter, his friend, well, first of all, why would you listen to a British publicist, a music publicist, about politics? But forgetting that for a second, the letter itself said he worked for Russia. And like, well, it says there, so why did you meet with the person? But in the end, it wasn't Junior's fault. You know whose fault it was?
Go ahead.
It was Paul Manafort's fault, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Okay. I spent 30 years in the business world. I would have probably taken that meeting. Okay. Not because of anything more than, well, in the business world, you meet with everybody just in case they have good information.
Yes, you never know what you're going to pick up.
Right? You don't worry about the country or any of that, and it was all before the whole Russian thing happened. Okay? Manafort was working for the campaign because he was the guy with campaign experience. Anybody with campaign experience, or anybody who's a political geek like us, would know, you don't take that meeting. And it has nothing to do with if it was from Great Britain, if it was from France. Well, I wouldn't take a meeting with France anyway. But
Yes.
you don't take that meeting. It just doesn't look right. Or if you do, you don't have a senior guy go. You have a junior guy's intern go. Okay, and that's Manafort's responsibility to do that, to tell him that.
Well,
okay,
yes, that's true.
Didn't.
Because these guys are political neophytes. They may know a lot about business. That may motivate them meetings. And I think that's why Trump consistently says, I want to do deals with people, because that's what he does. He does deals with people. And I think that's also the thing with Putin and Russia. He doesn't mind meeting with Putin and Russia. I'm going to play later on, Jeff, after you go. I got to play this retired Lieutenant Army, Lieutenant Colonel Army retiree, Ralph Peters was on Tucker Carlson tonight.
Yeah.
And I have that whole thing. Peters went over the edge with that, and that's part of my point. We've done deals. We've done deals with bad people. That's what we've done. And then shit changes.
Well, yeah. I mean, as FDR once said, he might be a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch.
Yes.
But the other thing that people criticize Trump for his bulliness. Okay. Now, my wife's in real estate, so I've been around people who are in real estate for the past 31 years. Okay, and most of the men, especially the men in real estate, they play a game called "Who's Got the Bigger Dick?" Okay.
Oh yeah.
And that's what real estate is. And I have to tell you something. When I was in advertising and I was negotiating with TV networks and magazine networks, played the same game. Okay? Because that's how I don't know, maybe it's because that's how men negotiate. But the point is that, Trump really never bothered me with that stuff. Because he was a negotiator, and that's how negotiators act.
That's what you do. Melanie Collette in chat said, John McCain is an ass. Trump Jr., stupidity isn't criminal. Yes. Again.
Yes.
It's a nothing burger. Yeah. He wasn't put on the proper rein. He didn't neck rein real well, just like you point out. But there's nothing there, Jeff. There's nothing
there. Absolutely, there's nothing there. 100%, you're right.
But it's a bombshell. It's a bombshell, says CNN.
It is a bombshell. Because what it is that it gives the Democrats another opportunity to slow down his agenda. And let me say this. Okay,
it's fodder. Really yes. Yep.
When this thing started to come out, the other person whose fault it is, and I hate to say this, is Priebus. And I like Rents. Okay? The first Russian thing, when months ago, when Jeff Sessions got caught, wasn't got caught when he forgot one meeting. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And okay, and it was as bad as the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor, you would think. But he should have had everybody who was involved in the administration and involved in the campaign come into his office for a meeting and say, okay, I need to know everything. I need you to go to your records. I need to know everything that you may or may not remember. Okay? And I got to know now. Because what really should have happened months ago is this happened, all coming from Trump. Because nothing kills a scandal more than letting everybody know what didn't happen.
Well, yeah, it's the D.C. political axiom. The cover-up was worse than the initial event itself. Very true.
Well, sure. Look at Watergate. Excuse me. It was a third-rate crime. But the thing is that that's the job of the chief of staff.
Okay.
To call everybody in and manage the staff and say, this is ridiculous. Let's find out everything, and let's do it now. And that hasn't been done yet. The whole thing with Junior, it has nothing to do with the fact that, he met with the Russian. It's the fact that in the last 24 hours, the story's changed 3 times.
The cover-up, yes, the cover-up. All the omission, right. Yeah. Or as Melanie said, they keep forgetting.
Well, you know what? Donald Jr. runs a multinational giant business. And yes, it's not the top thing on his mind yet. But if he sat down and went through everything, he'd remember. And he's got to. None of them are idiots. Well, maybe Manafort. Manafort you knew was a crook. But that's the problem. Okay?
Yeah, but like they say, he was Nixon's crook.
Well, more than that, it's just that Manafort was, again, he was already tied to outside interests, including the previous Ukrainian president who was tied to Russia. Okay. He was a consultant to the one who was nicey with Putin and eventually got thrown out of office because he was letting Putin invade the country.
One quick question for you, Jeff. Folks, we've been talking to Jeff Dunetz, who is a wonderful author and has his own radio show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm going to have to break for the top of the hour. I don't know if you have to go. You are welcome to come back after the top of the hour.
I'll hang for a while.
Okay. All right. Cool. Then perfect. Folks, I'm having a great time. We're talking to Jeff Dunetz. Please hang around. I'm happy to see you guys in chat. If you're listening live, apparently YouTube is kind of messed up. Spreaker is working just fine. If you want to listen to Spreaker. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying coffee is stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sako as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the SHR Media Network, and you are listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin. This is the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. And for the entire first hour, we were lucky enough to speak to Jeff Dunetz. And we've got Jeff back. So, Jeff, it's up to you. You interested in another 5, maybe 10? Let me know. And I'm all playing it by ear for you because I have to say, number 1, I'm having a great time. Number 2, you're a great interview and a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I'm just telling you the truth.
Number three, I'm not wearing any pants. But besides that,
uh-oh,
that was a joke.
No, I can listen. You don't lie. If there's one thing I've learned about you is you don't lie. So I have to believe you. I have to completely believe you.
Yeah, but I put the Y's in wise ass.
We were speaking about some things that were political, and we were speaking about the Republicans. And what do you think, Sir Jeff, about the state of the art of the opposite camp of the Democrat Party right now? What have they got?
They got plenty of nothing. And
Yep.
nothing. Look, all they have is the fact that they're trying to discredit Trump. Okay? That's all they have. And I've never been a huge fan of my own Senator, Chuck Schumer. But you realize that when he was first elected to the Senate, he was seen as a moderate, really.
Schumer?
And yeah, and no, really. And what has happened to him is that as he gets higher and higher in the party, he puts the party in front of not only his state, but his country. And that's disgusting.
Yes, I would have to agree. You know, I understand politics. I understand being political, but I don't understand. Well, yes, I do. And it's like I said the other day. I said, The media, for example, and we'll get to the media in a second, the media is in the process of committing seppuku. And I think that's a wonderful thing. As a matter of fucking fact, I'll be their second. I really will. I'll hand them the sword, and I'll be the first to say, don't forget about that very important second vertical cut. Very, very important. But it's the same thing about the Democrats. They have nothing. They're the party of nothing, except... Now, what are they now, Jeff? Are they 0 for 4, 0 for 5, something like that right now?
Yeah, but none of that impresses me. I have to be honest. Honestly, those races, each one of those, the Republicans should have won. However, my problem, I have tons of different problems. Number one, it's okay that you and I are on a radio show at midnight or 9 o'clock, the wrong side of the country, and throw in a curse word or two. Right. But have you heard their chairman?
Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Perez, the one who took over for Dum Dum Debbie?
Yes, I was so hoping that was going to be Keith Ellison. Can you imagine the buttery political goodness that Keith Ellison would have made? Oh, my God.
Well, that's another...
that's another story.
The problem I have. Very interesting is that the Democratic Party 20 years ago was the pro-Israel party, and now it's the anti-Israel party. And a lot of that happened, the Republicans started switching over really after Bush 41. I would say that before Trump, and because I can't evaluate Trump, probably Bush 43 was the most pro-Israel president we ever had. And now you have, Trump might turn out to be just as good or better, which is interesting because Bush 41, interesting factoid.
Okay.
When Jimmy Carter lost his reelection, it was the first time that any Democrat got less than 50% of the Jewish vote. And because it was three-way, basically, I think it was he got 45%, and Reagan got 40% or 42%, and I think it was Anderson back then, got another couple.
Yeah.
And it stayed that way through the first time Bush 41 ran. When Bush 41 ran for re-election, and that's because his Secretary of State was James Baker, who famously once said, "Fuck the Jews, they won't vote for us anyway." Well, it went from 40% to 11%.
Yeah, imagine that.
So, but after
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
Bush 41, things started picking up. And I think that now there's a real chance. But you had 8 years of Obama, who was, like I said, probably the most anti-Semitic, and I'm not talking about anti-Israel, but the most anti-Semitic president since Roosevelt. And then you had the next nominee was Hillary Clinton, who was just as bad as Obama. And now you have the number two guy in the party is Keith Ellison, who is not only anti-Semitic, not only anti-Israel and a follower of Farrakhan, but he's also a friend of Muslim Brotherhood.
Yes. Hey, since we're doing that, let's throw racist in there as well. Because I've read some of his things.
Oh, yeah. But absolutely. So, you want me to explain the Democrats? They have no policy and they hate Jews. As simple as that.
You opened the door. I'm going to ask you to walk through it. You addressed a little bit of it, but I have to tell you the thing that I don't get, and obviously you have insight, is how...
Why Jews vote Democrat.
Bingo, yes, okay. Bingo. I don't get that. The only thing that I can conclude is that politics trumps their religion and Israel. So, are they Jews?
Well, look, I am not the Jewish police, and only God can decide if they're really Jews or not, okay?
Okay, I get it.
The theology says that if your mother was Jewish or you converted, you're Jewish, and that's what I go by. However, during the 30s, 40s, and really the 50s, conservatives and Republicans were anti-Semitic. Okay? As late as, look, Pat Buchanan, okay? Pat Buchanan doesn't believe that people were actually killed at Treblinka. Okay?
Yeah, consider the source.
But he was a power in the party.
Yes, he was.
So there was no place for the Jews in the party. And I think that's a lot of it. I think it's a misunderstanding of Jewish theology, something that I've written about a lot. That my contention is, and without getting too into the weeds, look, one of the most important things that Jews are commanded to do is give to charity. And when people see the government taking money for things like, welfare and things like that, people think that, well, see, the government is doing what my obligation is. But that wasn't the obligation. It's a personal obligation to give charity. So it's not that you have to pay taxes to get charity. You're supposed to pay taxes, but you're supposed to give charity by yourself. And in my mind, that's a big mistake that most people don't get. And I think that's a lot of the reason. But what my contention is that, look, the Democrats aren't pro-Israel.
No.
Okay. And a political party really picks its positions based on its supporters. The reason why the Republicans are so pro-Israel is not because of the Jews. It's because of the evangelicals. And if the evangelicals if the evangelicals woke up one day and decided that, you know what, I don't support Israel anymore, then neither party will support Israel. Okay?
You make an interesting point.
And I personally believe that the reason why Obama was so easily given to screw Israel, and which he did often.
Yes, tried to undermine the election of Netanyahu. Specifically spent money and sent it across the pond to undermine the election of Benjamin Netanyahu.
True. And you know what else? He also did the Iran deal. He also did
God, yes.
And remember what he did his last month in screwing Israel in the UN. Okay, from the very moment that he took office, he was screwing Israel. And the reason why he was able to do it was that he knew that he would still get Jewish votes, and even worse, he would still get money from Jewish donors. The problem goes, I mean, you look at Sabin, who's a multi-billionaire, who gives money to Democrats. But the other issue is, and is that Jewish leadership. Okay, I'm talking like the ADL. I'm talking about like the American Jewish Committee, I believe it is, not the Congress. Oh, no, American Jewish Congress.
Okay.
They all use their offices as leaders of the Jewish community, supposedly, to push democratic causes. It's been years before the ADL gave a rat's ass about Jews. Okay, they care about pushing democratic policy. They wrote position papers on. Remember that when they redid the START treaty?
Yes.
Everybody thought that we were giving too much to the Russians. They wrote a position paper asking people to pass it. Now, what does that have to do with the ADL's mission? They've written when they passed during the Clinton administration, when they passed a bill to prevent late-term abortions, the ADL wrote something urging President Clinton to veto it. Okay, now tell me, they're doing human rights. Don't babies have rights? I mean, especially, even people who are, and I happen to be pro-life, but even people who are pro-abortion, could they really stomach late-term abortions when it's like, the kids?
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
It could be born tomorrow, and they're ripping the baby out of its mother piece by piece.
Well, and look at all the videos that the person that you interviewed, James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, proved. Yes,
no, it wasn't it wasn't Veritas. That was the Center for Medical Progress.
Oh, that's right. Okay, all right, my mistake. Good point.
But what does that have to? Again, what does that have to do with the mission? They've urged amnesty for illegal aliens. What does that have to do with their mission? And the reason is
it's a leftist element.
Their mission is to protect the Democratic Party, okay? Which is why I urge all my Jewish readers or all my readers who would ever give money to an organization like the ADL not to. Because my contention is you either give directly to the Democratic Party and cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
Or you find a different Jewish organization to give. But it doesn't make sense to give to the ADL. The president of the American Jewish Congress held 2 different fundraisers in his house for Obama. Okay, the most anti-Semitic president in the history of America. Well, at least since FDR. And he held fundraisers for him. And the ADL and the American Jewish Congress urged Jews not to criticize Obama during his re-election thing, criticize him on Israel. Okay, that's part of it also. But I have to tell you something. A lot of the Jews that laughed at me in 2007 when I wrote that this guy is going to be lousy for Jews in Israel came up to me in 2011 and said, you know what, you're right. And I'm not voting for him this time. But those same people ignored what I said about Hillary Clinton last time. So what are you going to do?
Well,
really? What has to happen? Okay, Donald Trump could have guaranteed that he'd get the Jewish vote when he ran for re-election, except he forgot to do something. He promised to move the embassy. And, everybody said, I always say that moving the embassy to Jerusalem is the political version of the check is in the mail. And I was really convinced that Trump was going to actually do it, and he didn't. If he did, I'm telling you, he would get the Jewish vote.
Then question for you. Have you heard anything in the future about perhaps that occurring? Or is that just off the table now?
No, I don't think it's off the table, because I know that, what's his name? I know that Abbas is really pissing him off. And the reason why he's pissing him off is that Abbas is paying money to terrorists who are in Israeli jails as blood money.
Yes.
And Trump asked him to stop. He said he was going to and then didn't. And Trump hates being lied to. As a matter of fact, when he made his Mideast trip, he closed the door and screamed at Abbas.
Really?
For that. And actually, he sent his Mideast negotiator, or one of them, the lower-level ones, to negotiate the other day. And the guy came back right away because Abbas still refused to stop paying money to reward terrorists.
Well, basically, he sets them up for life, does he not?
Yes.
And it's a motivating factor. That motivates them. They'll be taken care of fiscally.
Yep, and their families.
Yes, and their families.
And nothing pisses Trump off. See, there's another thing that Trump is different than, for example, Obama, that actually George Bush 43 believed too. Terrorism anywhere is the same. It doesn't matter if it's on the streets of Jerusalem.
Oh boy.
Or New York City. That was what Trump said, and he really acts that way. Obama, when there was a terrorist attack on Israel, he always found a way to blame Israel.
Well, as you also pointed out, one of the last acts that he did was for, if I'm not mistaken, the United States not to abstain with regard to the censorship of or the censoring of Israel.
Well, right, over the settlements.
Yes.
Now, one of Obama's first acts as president, Bush had a deal with Israel that Israel could add more housing units to existing settlements, but they promised not to take any more. Okay? They wouldn't build any more settlements. And Israel kept to the deal. But within 2 months, Obama broke that deal. The interesting thing is, at one point, Hillary called up Netanyahu and screamed at him 45 minutes. You know why? Because in an existing settlement, they added bathrooms.
What?
Bathrooms. 2011. This is what... And you go, oh my God, how could he do something like this? That's how. And that's, again, a big difference that I appreciate, but a lot of my liberal Jewish friends don't appreciate. But people don't try to understand. They look, I hate what they're working on in terms of the health care bill. I really do. But I will take it way over what we have now. I want something better. But if that's the best they can do, well, you know what? Do it and let's fix it more. I know that's not a very popular decision with some of my conservative friends.
The thing that I find so frustrating is that it can be done. And the biggest obstructionist, you know the Democrats are going to be obstructionist. It's the job. It's in the job description. But the people like McCain, Lindsey Graham, et al., that are absolutely adamant against doing something like this, they're the persons responsible. The Democrats have made it all about process. We're not getting shite done. And in a way, the Democrats are winning because they continuously focus on faux issues, and they have the full thrust of the American media maggots behind them. So that leads me...
Well, and a lot of that, I'll say it is something that Trump's not doing. Because just as much as Obama would be on the TV every other freaking day saying, no, but he, Trump could be doing town halls all over the country like he did, was it in Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, he was.
It was great. And Trump could be doing that and selling the health care plan, but he's not.
Well, he has the bully pulpit, and everybody in chat, I'm sure, was going to say this and believe it. I'm sure you'll say it and believe it. The Republicans don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to message. And if there's one thing the Democrats do very well, is that.
I'll tell you another thing they don't do well, that the Democrats do great. They don't use the blogging community.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes. Oh, hell yes. Social media. Yes.
Okay. But there was a while there where I used to get from the Republican, the Congressional Committee. I used to get a ton of information before it was announced. Okay, and if I agreed with it, I could actually start selling it before it was announced.
Okay.
I get nothing anymore. Yes, I get the emails, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but I don't get what I used to get. I would, 5 years ago, I might have gotten what the Republican plan that's going to be announced on Thursday. I might get it tomorrow. I won't get it.
Jeff, I couldn't even tell you who the RNC chair is today. I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Oh, I'm talking about the Congressional Committee. I mean, because they have people in the Congressional Committee, they have people in the Senatorial Committee, and I used to get information from them all the time. I get nothing.
Yep.
Okay? I don't have a contact. I have one contact at the White House, but I can't use him all the time because he's not in a communications thing. Okay? And the only reason why I have him as a contact is because I know him from when he worked for Cruz. And I, in emergencies, I'll try to, get to him. But I don't know how to, I don't know how to reach Sean Spicer. What if I have information? I mean, I have done some things. I mean, the whole story about the Democrats and the changing their platform, taking away all the pro-Israel points. That was my story. I broke it. I could leak stuff to them like that. The whole thing, I got Barack Obama's first national intelligence director who prepared all the intelligence things for him. I got him fired. Okay?
Nice.
Because I researched the guy, and among the other things he did, he thought that China was too nice during the Tiananmen Square thing.
Oh, right. Perfect.
And when I And when I got that information to, believe it or not, Nancy Pelosi, who, she's in San Francisco and has a big Asian community.
Yes.
She started putting pressure, although Nancy doesn't know it was, a conservative blogger who got her the information. So, I mean, there are things like that where, you find out things and you can help. It goes both ways.
It does. Folks, we're talking to Jeff Dunetz. It's the bottom of the hour. I'm going to have to take my break. I'm going to ask this one more time, and you can say yes or no. If you want to hold over for the break, you can. Up to you, sir. If you got to go, perfectly understandable.
No, I went before the show. My mother always said before you go on the radio, you should go.
Okay, just as long as it's not on the radio. I'll tell you what, if you can hang, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more. I've got one or two more questions. Okay. Folks, you are listening to Late Night Conservative Talk Radio here in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon. That was Jeff Dunetz. Please, the last segment coming right up, and you come right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads radio show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites,
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the final segment of the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. We have been speaking for an hour and a half. We have had the luxury of speaking to Jeff Dunetz. And, Jeff, I have just 2 more questions for you, sir.
Before we get to that,
Yes, sir.
I have kind of an important announcement.
Okay.
You know, there's been this whole Facebook thing about Jaden Smith, and I don't know if you've gotten this whole a lot of people on Facebook have gotten messages that if you get a friend request from someone named Jaden Smith, it's a hoax, so don't answer it. Okay, there's another similar hoax that I just heard about.
Okay.
Okay, and I wanted to warn people: if you get a friend request, okay, from someone who says his name is John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, don't accept it, because if you do, his name will become your name too.
What?
Yes, if you do, his name will become your name too. You don't remember that song from when you were a kid?
No, I don't.
Oh, boy. Anybody in the chat room remember that song?
Okay, go ahead. Folks, hold up your hands. Okay, I don't see any hands being held up. All right.
Because, anyway. Go ahead with your question, because when I tell a joke that bombs, I like to move away fast.
Okay, well, moving. Yeah, Dave Milner in chat said, what? Dave Milner said, hey, his name is my name, too. And then Dave Milner says...
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is my name, too. Oh, God.
Now, I have to admit, now I'm from, the left portion of the United States, and I have to tell you, I did not hear that.
So
Dave Milner did. Dave Milner did.
Right?
So he got it. Dave Milner said...
I'm from the People's Republic of New York.
Well, yeah. Dave said, Jeff, I got it. I perfectly got it. I remember that.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes, there's a reason
I may be
Dave
60,
is in chat.
But I do remember some things.
Oh, wait. Okay. All right. Now everybody's chiming in. Mary Brockman said, yep, I got it. Dave said, yep, I got it. Mike says, yep, I got it. And Mary Brockman also says, if you friend Lizzie Borden, you'll get hacked.
Oh, you can't. You'll get hacked.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like that.
I've heard that.
I like that one, Mary. That's not too bad. Okay, last...
Anyway, let's go... Right.
Last political question. And that's this. Because I went off on a rant last Thursday about CNN. So, Jeff Dunetz, do you have any thoughts about what I term the state of the art of the American media maggots today?
Yes. I happen to think that the only thing that if anybody wants to argue about CNN, just remind them that 93% of their stories on Trump were negative.
Yep.
Okay, it's impossible. However, there are some that are worse than others. Their media guy I can't stand. Stelzer, what's his name?
Are you talking about the CEO, Jeff Zucker?
No. Their media critic.
Oh, no, that I don't know.
What's his name?
He's
the one who took over when Howie Kurtz left. Anyway, I can't stand him. Okay, and I've written about CNN's mistakes. Honestly, and this will get me in trouble, but I think deep down, I think Jake Tapper is a good guy. And I know people hate him, but I've met him. I know it's in his, I can't help it. He's been very nice to me. And that could be it, but I think he's a good guy and really thinks he's doing a good job. I can't stand Chris Cuomo.
Oh, God, no.
Okay, I can't, who else? Is there anybody else that woman in the afternoon I can't stand? Baldwin? Oh, please. I don't remember her name.
You're not talking about Mad Cow, are you?
No.
Oh, John.
Anyway,
Mike says Stelter?
Yeah. I can't stand them. Okay? But you know what? There are people on all stations I don't like. I mean, Shepard Smith makes me puke.
Oh, my God. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
You know, I generally, I have lunch at 3 o'clock so I don't have to watch Fox. Or I'll turn on to I-24 or the BBC. Because he's not only a liberal, but he's an arrogant liberal.
You're being very kind. I mean,
well, what can I do?
Geraldo Rivera is infinitely better than Shepard Smith. Facts and evidence.
I made Geraldo Rivera shut up once.
Okay, I got to hear about that. Okay, I got to hear it.
Well, you know, he thinks he's this big supporter of Israel. And then you go, and he is half Jewish. You know, unfortunately, it's the wrong half. But
I knew you were going there.
He says, you know, I'm so pro my Jewish faith. I have a tattoo of a Jewish star on my hand. Now, if anybody knows about Jewish theology, you are forbidden to get tattoos.
Oh, okay.
So, and actually to get buried in a Jewish ceremony, they have to like kind of take it off or something, or you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery.
Ow.
It's kind of like having a celebration that you got an abortion in the Vatican. Okay. So,
Jeff, thank you. I wasn't drinking, just like I told Melanie Collette about an hour ago, 2 hours ago. I said, thank God I wasn't drinking a carbonated beverage when you just said that.
Well, you know, Melanie's been on my show, so she knows I'm a bit of a nut too. But the thing is that he just basically said, "Yeah, I'm proving I'm Jewish by saying something that is against Jewish law." Now, I'm not the Jewish police. I don't say that you're evil because you do it, but don't say that I'm a good Jew because I got a tattoo. You know, it's like having, you know, I'm a good Jew because I love bacon. It doesn't fit.
No.
But and I never decide who's a good Jew because that's I'm too busy worrying that I am and my family is. But,
Dave Milner says in chat, he asks, is Rivera the Juan Epstein of news? And then he also asks you, he says, Jeff, maybe he got the tat on the Gentile side of his body. That's good. That's actually a good one, Dave. I really like that one.
Well, it reminds me of, you know, I've written an open letter to Whoopi Goldberg.
Okay.
Every time, and I republish every time she says something stupid. Because her real name is Karen Johnson, right?
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
That's her. Whoopi Goldberg is a stage name.
Okay.
So, you know, when she says something stupid, people think that it's a Jew saying that. So we have, and I asked her to change her stage name. I mean, haven't the Jews suffered enough? We have Al Franken.
Yeah, poor Minnesota. How sorry. How sad.
We have Bernie Sanders. We have half of Geraldo.
Yes, but the best half.
No. I think we got, well, actually all of Geraldo is a rear end. But, you know,
and an empty safe.
And actually, to show that she has a sense of humor, once when I sent it to her, she tweeted it out.
Really?
Which I thought was, you know what, that's classy.
That's being a sport. Okay, that's being a sport of it.
Either that or she thought it was funny. You know, I was even suggesting, how about Whoopi Mishtukvi or something like that. But, you know. So anyway, what do I think of the media? I have been criticizing. You got to remember, I used to work for Truth Revolt And then I've done some work with Media Research Center. So a lot of my page gigs have been about, telling the truth about the media.
Okay.
So I don't trust the media. But
I don't either, and I used to work for them. I used to work for McClatchy.
what I tell people is they should consume it all, but double check it all.
Yes.
Don't rely on one source. And even double check me.
I don't double check you, Jeff.
But I always link to my sources, and I always use real sources.
I do too.
And I always and when people start complaining, I say, look, you can argue with my opinions, but you can't argue with my facts because most of the time I'm taking from the writing of the person I'm criticizing.
Yes, which is the smart thing to do, obviously. Let them state it themselves exactly.
You have to consume it media the right way, and you don't. It's almost like the X-Files. Trust no one, not even me. But trust, and it's important. I trust you, though.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
What was that song?
That's from the X-Files.
What do you know?
I know. Dave Milner says that he's used from some stuff from Truth Revolt before, and he also said, I don't know a lot of conservative hosts that don't say, check out what I say.
Absolutely. You know why? Because we're secure in what we say.
We're secure in the argument. We don't predicate everything but upon emotions. And just like you, when I read an article, I see the links.
Emotional sometimes.
Well,
anytime I get the articles, the videos about when they were selling baby parts.
Oh,
I got very emotional.
Yes.
Anything to do with kids and puppies, I can't help it.
No. That's why people love you, Jeff.
Is that because I love kids and puppies?
Yes.
My
and
puppy loves me.
Now, let me get serious just for a moment, and then we can go back.
Okay.
One of the reasons that people like you, and they read you, and they listen to you, is because they know the fundamental truth about you, and that's this. You're a good guy. You can tell it in your writing. You can tell it when people listen to you, when you speak on your radio show, when you speak on other shows. You have attributes. You source your materials. You have veracity. You have verisimilitude. You have believability. You have built up a readership and a listenership over the years, and people tell you things.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.
And want to read you and want to listen to you because you tell the truth.
Let me tell you the real difference between liberals and conservatives.
Okay.
If I hear an argument I don't agree with, I'll start listing facts why I don't agree with it.
Okay. True.
If a liberal hears argument that they don't agree with, they'll write, "Well, you're an ugly asshole."
Well, yes, it becomes personal immediately.
They don't attack, or they'll say, you're lying, and I'll say, where am I lying? Tell me where I'm not being true. Because you know what? I'm not perfect. Now, my wife is, but I'm not. So maybe I did make a mistake. I've made mistakes, and the difference is when I make a mistake, I apologize.
Yes.
But what I don't, but they don't do that. They'll just say, you're wrong. This is fake. This is bullshit. Well tell me. Argue.
It's like CNN. I went off on CNN. They doubled down on stupid. The American media maggots doubled down on stupid. The Democrats, Hillary Clinton, doubled down on stupid. It's
not just CNN.
Oh, okay. No, it's not. That's true.
Rachel Maddow did the big reveal on Trump's tax return where he found out that he paid more taxes and gave a lot of money to charity. What a moron. She should have read it before she announced that she was going to do it. And, and everybody at MSNBC does, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I hate, why do people have to call people Hitler?
It's so easy and it's so trite. It's like calling someone a racist anymore. It's water off a duck's back.
You know what? I have relatives that have numbers tattooed on their arm.
I bet you do.
And that who spent time in Auschwitz. Until somebody makes someone get tattoos of numbers on their arms and sends people to Auschwitz, then I'll tell you something. They're not Nazis. They may be bad people. They may be people you disagree with, but they're not Nazis.
No.
And people, racists should be a horrible word to call anybody.
It means nothing anymore. Nothing.
Right. But it should be a horrible thing. I mean, God forbid that anyone seriously called me a racist. It would really bother me. Where I'd really sit and think, gee, am I? Did I say anything? I can't help it. But when you do it without real meaning, then what you're doing is you're watering down the ugliness.
Yes, you are. And I used an example. I used an example earlier. Ralph Peters essentially called Tucker Carlson tonight supporting a Nazi. He was a Nazi supporter. That's so far. That's so far beyond the pale that man would even go there. It's bandied about with such abandon. It almost means nothing anymore. It almost means nothing.
You see, if it was up to me, if I ruled the world, hell, I don't even rule my house, but if I ruled the world, okay, racist would be the R word, and we'd be saying the N word out loud. Because if you said it a lot, then it would lose its hatefulness. And really, that's what we should be doing. We should take all the bad words, kike, whatever, and make them lose their horrible meanings. But people are stupid. People, it's all they really care about is being politically correct.
No, we can see what political correctness is doing in Europe right now. Right now.
Well, people like you and I, we use words for a living. And political correctness takes away those words. And some of those words really need to be used. I mean, come on. Illegal immigrant. Okay, it's not, what is it? It isn't undocumented. If I steal your car, am I an undocumented car owner? If I kill somebody, am I an undocumented executioner?
Well, yes.
Okay.
What does Mexico call people that are coming in from El Salvador? Illegal.
They call them in jail. They put them in jail.
Yes, they do.
And that's another thing. I would love for Mexico has some of the most repressive laws for illegal immigrants, and when they keep criticizing us, we should remind them what their laws are. Okay, that's why if somebody objects to me calling them illegal immigrants, I placate them. I call them criminally trespassing aliens.
Well, that's nice. I like that. That'll work. Quick story, Jeff. Quick story about going down to the Mexican Riviera cruise. We stopped in, I don't remember the town we stopped. It was really nice. A lot of jungle. It wasn't Cabo, but it was really hot and sweaty and a lot of humidity and a lot of jungle and whatnot. And as we are taking a tour, there are some people that are squatting on the streets on the sidewalk. And the Mexican guy that was giving our tour was saying, see those people right there? Those are Hondurans. They're taking away our jobs. Don't give them any money. See those people over there that are sitting right there? Those are El Salvadorans. Don't give them any money. They're trying to sell you things. They need to go back to the damn country because they're trying to undercut us. That's what Mexico thinks of illegal immigrants.
Well, I have to tell you something. That's why I don't understand why people of lower income levels aren't fighting the illegal immigrants, because they're taking away. A lot of them are taking away lower paying jobs.
It's funny you got that. Hang on just 1 second. I had a cut that I was going to play tonight. Let me see if I have it. Yes, I do. This is about 2 minutes, and you're going to be able to hear it yourself, Jeff. And I want everybody else to hear it because just what you said, you're going to hear on this particular video. So, folks, about folks in illegal immigration, yes, here's somebody that disagrees with Maxine Waters and her views on illegal immigrants.
Racism! All the jobs with illegal immigrants! You have destroyed the black community! You are a black racist! You hate black!
She's saying that about Maxine Waters. She said, you have destroyed the black community with illegal immigration.
All the jobs went to illegal! You gave our jobs to illegal! We want you out!
We want you out. You give the jobs to illegals.
You're paid with taxpayers' money, and you're giving jobs to illegals!
It's happening right now, just as you say, Jeff, under the auspices of Maxine Waters in her community. Not happy people, just like you said.
Well, you know the real problem with Maxine Waters, right?
Well, yes, besides she's a loon.
Well, no, but you see, some people are born stupid. Some people are nasty. But the really horrible combination is when people are both stupid and nasty. And that's Maxine Waters.
And yet,
stupid, nasty, and a crook.
And so yes, and let's not forget her daughter as well, Crook B. In any event, that's exactly what you said. I was going to absolutely cook off on Bill de Blasio today. I was going to cook off on a lot of things, but instead, I spoke. This is glorious. I've spoken to Jeff Dunetz for 2 whole hours. You know, I know, Jeff, it's late for you, but this is the last question, I swear. Would you consider...
Okay, but before you ask it,
okay,
let me just... Folks, I opened up, starting this week, a second website that's all video called Lids Vids, and it's really cool.
Oh, neat.
Come visit. Go ahead.
What is it, lidsvids.com?
.com, yeah.
Okay.
All videos.
Okay, folks, go to lidsvids.com. Excellent, thank you. So, Jeff, the final question, would you consider reappearing here in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon? Because, frankly, I'd love to have you back with as much frequency as you'll allow. Would you consider it?
Yes. But I can't do it too often because I need to sleep.
I know. That's true. And I thank you for the sacrifice that you've made. Jeff,
I wake up in 4 hours.
Oh, my God. All right.
Well, you know, I got 2 websites to run and a radio show.
Holy moly. Oh, that's right. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Oh, well,
Yes.
yes, today is tomorrow for you.
And my guest later will be Ed Marcy from Hot Air.
Oh, cool.
Who is one of the most decent people I've ever met in this business, and who I am really happy that he and his wife are friends of my wife and me.
Okay, where can people listen to your radio show?
Stay right where they are now, except for the YouTube people, because I haven't learned how to do that yet.
Well, apparently neither have I.
Well, what can I tell you?
All right.
And not only that, but you know that whole YouTube Red thing?
Yes.
My wife's cousin is the head of that, and I don't know how to run the show on YouTube.
Ooh, ow. Don't tell him that.
It's a her.
Oh, don't tell her that then. Oh, my God.
I won't. But
folks, you've been listening to Jeff Dunetz. We've had a grand time. Jeff, from the bottom of my quaking little clotted heart and my past due heart attack, I say thank you ever, ever, ever so kindly for taking as much time as you have to appear here tonight. I will never do this to you again and think about 2 hours of this. But thank you from the bottom of my heart, sir. I greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Good talking to you. Good seeing you all. And Melanie, I hope you recovered from being on my show a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, ow.
God
nice.
Bless you all.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'm a wise ass. Take care, man.
All righty. Thank you, Jeff. That was a grand time. That was Jeff Dunetz of The Lid. What a grand guy he is. And, of course, there's this.
Monsieur has unlocked!
We'll meet again.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we were just talking to Jeff Dunetz. And that was a grand time. I did not anticipate that it was going to go a full 2 hours. And again, I either have to A, apologize, or B, just overflow with thanks for Jeff and his taking as much time as he did out of his busy schedule to talk to us for 2 hours in the saloon. It's time to go bye-bye. You can hear Sackheads Radio tomorrow evening. And I'll be there along with Sackhead Clint and Sackhead Sean. And then I will be back, and I am going to cork off again on Thursday. But before I do, just a little bit of a heads up. I'm going to be speaking, and you're going to be listening to the Underground Professor, Dr. Michael Jones, next Thursday at the top of the hour when the show just starts. So please come back. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in chat. God bless. Be safe. Come back.
Quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob. Go to sleep.
Good night, and good luck.
At Century Arms, we're committed to supporting your freedom, your rights, and your way of life. With generations of craftsmanship and innovation, we proudly provide firearms that embody the spirit of liberty. Introducing the new Sharp Brothers MB-47 rifle, designed for precision, built for strength, and ready for anything. Whether you're on the range or defending what matters most, the MB-47 rifle is where generation meets innovation. For more information, visit us at centuryarms.com now.